State of Fear, where terror is homegrown. Join us as we take a drive down dusty back roads and discover the obscure and dark history of this country, human and otherwise, that lurk in your backyard.
And welcome back to another episode of State of Fear. This is Chris.
Hey, and I'm James.
So for episode 4, we are going to go over Arkansas.
The great state of Arkansas.
Arkansas, yes. I like saying it that way as opposed to Arkansas because phonetically it just looks better.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So before we get started, James, how has your week been so far?
My week has been busy as hell, brother. I've been
really?
actually waiting to get here to blow off some steam because I love this shit.
You love just getting away from things for a while and
Hell yeah.
letting go of the real world. And well, actually, this is the real world too because this is some crazy stuff in
crazy shit
in real states in the United States.
Indeed.
Yeah. So today we are switching it up a little bit. The last 3 episodes we did something of more of the paranormal nature.
Yeah.
Now we're going to do a true crime story, and today is the story of Arkansas's, or Arkansas, however you like to say it, worst mass murderer, Ronald Gene Simmons.
Or as you referred to him, a spree killer.
Yes, he is a spree killer, and we say that because initially we were calling this a serial killer episode, but as I pointed out to James, there's actually a difference. Serial killers kill multiple victims over a long period of time, aka Night Stalker, or even more so the BTK killer, whereas spree killers kill a lot of victims over a very short time frame, such as Ronald Gene Simmons, or the most famous of spree killers, Charles Whitman, in the Tower at Texas.
Tower, Texas,
Yeah. So that's the two differences. So Mr. Simmons killed about 16 people over a span of about a week.
Yeah.
So that is not serial killer time at all. That's way
too
quickly.
That's some seriously fucked up shit.
Yeah. But first, let's go over the weird news of the day. James, what do you got for us?
Oh, man, I got a good one for you today, guys.
All right.
This story comes out of the great state of Illinois.
Illinois.
Really. I'm not much for...
Another coincidence? You'll find out later. Mr. Simmons was born in Chicago, Illinois.
He what?
He
Holy
is.
hell.
Another coincidence,
man, we got to stop doing this, brother. This is going to freak my ass out.
Getting creepy.
All right. Well, the article is dated somewhere October of 2019, and the article is titled, Trucker Reports 7-Foot-Tall Person with Wings Near O'Hare International Airport. All right. Now, there is a mock-up drawing of what the witnesses described it, and to me, it looks like one of your favorites, the Mothman.
It looks just like the Mothman.
It sure certainly does. I guess he's out there to wreak some havoc.
He never went away.
Well, here's a story. Manuel Neverett of UFO Clearinghouse received a report recently from a man who said he was standing outside a cargo dock at O'Hare International Airport in Chicago when he spotted a 7-foot-tall person with wings just outside of a fence by the parking lot. The sighting reportedly took place at approximately 6:30 p.m. on November 26th. Hell, man, that's early evening, bro.
So this story must have been from more recent than that. If this took place, did this take place November 26th of this year?
That's, you know what? That's what it is. So that was even closer than I thought.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, it must have just come out then.
Holy
Great.
crap, that's a month ago.
That's awesome.
According to the report, this is what he said. I was at the airport picking up a load at Nippon Cargo Airlines I was already backed into a dock and was standing away from the truck smoking a cigarette while they loaded my truck. See, I hate when they overword sentences.
Oh, I know.
It makes me stumble, but that's the way it's written.
That's the way it's written.
I was looking toward the runway in the direction of the tunnels, and that is when I noticed something that looked like a large bird standing just outside the fence by the parking lot. It was not hard to miss because 2 street lamps were nearby. It looked like a person with wings and that were stretched out and flapping.
Wow.
Flapping? Yeesh. Big ass bat.
That's what I would think too, yeah.
I was walking away from the fence toward the open field and then began to flap its wings and disappeared.
Wow. That sounds like a lot like Mothman for sure.
Jeez.
Yeah.
She probably shot up. Navarrete was able to speak with the witnesses over the phone. Oh. See, that's where I get kind of aggravated at these cryptid stories because over the phone, secondhand information, but it's still cool.
Unfortunately, that's the only information we ever get with these things.
Pretty much, yeah. Because as I said, we discussed cryptids before and the fact that they are very hard to find, if at all, because they are elusive and smart.
They are the world's champion of hide and seek.
Yes, they are. To quote, I spoke with the witness via phone and was able to get a little more information regarding this sighting. The investigator said, the witness primarily speaks Spanish, but was able to report this sighting with the help of his daughter and her boyfriend. Notice the slight inflection. See,
yeah.
I gotta, when it's other people talking, I gotta change up a little bit.
Gotcha.
He was standing away from his truck and while it was being loaded, smoking a cigarette, when he said he caught movement out of the corner of his eye and saw the being standing near the parking lot that was illuminated by 2 street lamps. The witness stated that the creature was about 7 feet tall, using the fence as a point of reference. Navarrete explained, when I asked him how he was able to be so certain as to the height of the being, the driver stated he had been to this location multiple times and he estimates the fence to be about 8 feet high. Using the fence, he was certain that the being was at least 7 feet tall. Holy shit.
Yeah.
When I asked him how large the wings were, he said at least 6 feet across and back.
That is a big, big creature.
Woo!
Yeah.
Oh, and black. I said back.
Oh.
So he has black 6-foot wings. That's some demon shit.
That is some demon shit.
The witness used language seen in previous sighting reports from the largely Hispanic neighborhood of Chicago's Little Village. When I asked him to describe the being, he said it looked like a demonio, a demon, or a duende, a goblin, and was solid black. The witness said he saw nothing that looked like eyes, and he assumed that the creature might have had his back turned to him. Like, take a picture of this. He stated that it walked with a gait like a bird and that it was flapping its wings as it walked toward the large field that is by the runways. Sorry, folks. And disappeared into the night, said Navarrete. Well, damn.
Mm-hmm.
Also present was a sense of evil similarly reported by previous witnesses. The witness did state that when it disappeared, he quickly did the sign of the cross and asked the Virgin Mary for protection.
Like a demon.
Well, you know what?
I would too.
I would too, absolutely. Yeah. He put out a cigarette and quickly walked back to his truck. When I asked him why he did that, he stated that he felt a presence that was evil and was convinced that he had seen a demon. Which, if I saw something 7 feet tall with black wings and red eyes flapping his wings, I would think demon too.
I mean, especially in like the Hispanic culture.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a demon right there.
Absolutely. And I was married to a Spanish lady for 20 years, and we always had at least one haunted room.
Of course.
Absolutely. When asked to elaborate on the statement, the witness refused to talk about it anymore for fear of it coming back, said Navarrete. Now that I don't. Yeah.
There's also similar feelings with like the Mothman encounters. People felt weird or felt scared or like it was dangerous. So I mean, again, similarities going on.
Don't
there
mess
too.
with. Well, because everywhere the Mothman showed up, disaster strikes.
And it wasn't always just because it was 7 feet tall and black. It's just it had this, this sort of aura or sort of feeling that it emitted that made people afraid of it.
And the fact that it didn't care if you saw it or not. And it just casually strolled off and took off at its own leisure.
Exactly.
If it doesn't show any fear or being detected, Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it continues, quote, I respected his wishes and went on to ask other questions about the time, conditions, and if there were any other potential witnesses to the sighting. He continued, he stated that there were others at the same facility, but many were either inside the facility itself or in their trucks. When asked if he had seen something similar before, the witness stated that he had before when he was a teenager back home in Mexico. The witness stated that he saw a solid black-winged creature that was circling in an open field that he and other children were playing soccer in. He stated it circled in the field and made a loud screeching noise before flying off in the surrounding forest. Jeepers creepers.
Yeah, really.
When I asked him if he remembered the date of the sighting, he stated that he did not remember the exact date, but a week later there was a large earthquake in Mexico City. For the record, the magnitude 8.0 earthquake that hit Mexico City was on September 19th of 1985. To quote, the witness seemed sincere, albeit scared that he had seen something demonic and evil. It is my opinion that the witness is telling the truth. An investigator will be dispatched to do a field observation, and any info will be posted on UFO Clearinghouse as it becomes available, he added. The sighting location is less than 15 miles west of Lake Michigan. Oh, great.
Wow.
I've been to Lake Michigan.
Have you now?
I didn't see no big-ass flapping wing.
When'd you go?
Running around there.
When were you last there?
94.
Okay, yeah, it's been a couple of decades.
Been a minute.
Been a minute, yeah.
Story goes on. Several other sightings have been reported in the same area, including an October 30th sighting of a large winged humanoid in Park Ridge, an October 29th report of a winged humanoid accompanied by several other beings.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no kidding. An October 19th sighting of a giant-sized bat outside of the Edward Hotel in Rosemont, and an October 5th sighting of a tall creature with bright red eyes and large wings near Chicago's O'Hare International Airport, and a report from July of a 6-foot-tall creature flying over the Des Plaines River near Rosemont, Illinois. This is the latest news in a string of Mothman sightings. They finally referred to him. Okay, within a few 100-mile radius surrounding Lake Michigan. Oh boy. Including every state bordering the Great Lakes. These sightings ostensibly began in spring of 2017. Why are we just now hearing about this?
They've actually been talking about them, but they haven't really reached mainstream news until recently.
I suppose. Yeah, people will think I'm crazy.
Well, I've been seeing reports of Mothman for the last like 5 years or so.
Well, he's your fave.
Yeah, but like they've been in all the different types of cryptozoology websites, and people are posting them on the Facebook and stuff. But this is like the first time it actually made like mainstream news.
Yep. Story continues. More historical accounts are being reported as more people become aware of the phenomenon. Sightings of weird winged beings around Lake Michigan have been reported at all hours, often in or near a park and around water. Witnesses consistently describe a large gray or black bat or bird-like creature, although a smaller number of cases that the creature was described as insect-like, sometimes with glowing or reflective red, yellow, or orange eyes, and humanoid features such as arms and legs often reported. Many of the sightings are also something seen only briefly or be described as a flying creature with few details, which leaves open the possibility that a large avian being could explain some encounters. Sightings of anomalous avians, including thunderbirds or pterosaurs, are often reported in or near the same location as those where witnesses have reported winged humanoids. Man,
I know.
I'm gonna tell you, and that's recent.
So I
like that shit.
It's the second time that he was seen at the O'Hare National Airport, because it says in here that there was another sighting before of him being sighted at the O'Hare National Airport.
Why in the hell?
Which means that, but the thing is, in the last few years, there have been more reports of him being seen in and around Chicago, which means that there's some sort of major catastrophe supposedly going to happen in Chicago, because Mothman's MO is that he's seen before some sort of large disaster.
Usually being blamed for it, I believe.
Sometimes he is, yeah. Well, he was in the West Virginia one, because that was the first time there were multiple reports of him being seen just before the Silver Bridge collapsed. Now, after that, he was seen at multiple other places where there were eventual catastrophes, but at that point, they began to think that he was more of an omen of the catastrophe rather than the cause itself.
Now, wasn't there a story of him being seen around 3 Mile Island, or am I crazy?
Yeah, 3 Mile Island, Fukushima.
Yeah.
There's even some reports of him being seen before, around the World Trade Center before 9/11, which can, I don't know, take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But there's another bridge collapse somewhere. I think it was Minnesota, where he was seen before. And then the Mexico one before the earthquake, he was seen there as well. And now he's been seen around Chicago for like the last, 2 or 3 years.
Interesting.
So something major is supposedly going to be taking place.
Well, the only reason I'm saying this is going to sound like a stupid reference, but I'm going to make it anyway.
Okay.
You know the Muto in the Godzilla movie?
Yeah.
Roosts around those nuclear places, glowing red eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if maybe they took that idea. I mean, I don't know how long the Mutos have been around in Godzilla movies, but
I think they've been around for a while. But I don't think the Mutos would have been well known in West Virginia.
I know they've got legs, and they don't really and then the male one has wings. You know, they just kind of look. They look Mothman like. I mean, yes, they're different,
right?
But similar features, I guess you could say.
Now, I would probably say that's just more of a coincidence. I don't think that well, you know what? Let's find out real quick. Let's find out, because I wonder if the creators took their idea from the Mothman.
I don't know. It just seems weird to me, because those Mutos, that's what they look like to me. When it comes to the Mothman drawing, they kind of have a similar. You're
talking about for the new Godzilla that came out recently.
The new one. Sorry.
Maybe. I mean, but massive unidentified terrestrial organism. Probably not. No, it was probably more of just a standard. What do you call it? What's the monster name? What's the name for the type of monster it is?
It's called a Muto.
No, Kojima, or no? What was it? What are they called? There's a name for giant monsters from Japan. It's the name they have for the creatures in Pacific Rim.
Oh shoot! Oh god!
Kaiju.
Kaiju?
Yes.
Kaiju
Kaiju. Kaiju is the name that refers to giant monsters. It's what
okay.
Godzilla is a kaiju as well.
Gotcha.
And so I think it's just a type of kaiju. So anything giant monster Japanese is considered a kaiju. It's a sort of their
kaiju
species name. Bless you.
Gesundheit. Exactly.
Gesundheit.
All right. Well, that's a good interesting fact. I just found that similarity a little striking. That's all. It's kind of, I was like, you know.
And again, but you also see that I think it's just human nature to sort of try to find similarities in different types of things, because there are people who reference it to either a demon, depending on their religion or their beliefs, but also the Thunderbird from Native American, and the what was the other one they mentioned? The pterosaurs, which are just dinosaurs. So you know, I think it's in our nature to try to associate it with something, and so when you see the Mutos, you just associate it with something similar
features.
Yeah, exactly. Just way bigger.
Like I said, sometimes I overthink shit, but you know, that's just the way I do it.
Okay, and with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the main topic of today's episode.
Absolutely, this sick bastard.
Yeah. On a cold morning in December of 1987, Kathy Kendrick was going through her usual routine as a receptionist secretary at Peel & Eddy law firm in Russellville, Arkansas, when a slightly familiar face walked in from the cold. The 24-year-old mother of one barely had time to ask, "Can I help you?" before Ronald Gene Simmons pulled out a pistol and shot her 4 times at point-blank range in the head. So Ronald Gene Simmons was born in Chicago on July 15, 1940, to Loretta and William Simmons. He dropped out of high school in 1957 and joined the U.S. Navy, so he's a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not to say anything for veterans, because 99% of them are amazing people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it just takes a few bad eggs to, spoil the bunch.
Yep.
While stationed in Washington, he met Rebecca Becky Ulibari. That's such a very weird name. And the two were married in 1960 after moving to New Mexico. He then made the move from Navy to Air Force, and over the next 18 years, the couple had 7 kids together. So they didn't waste any time.
No, they did not.
He went from the Navy to the Air Force, so he was in it for the long haul, for sure. Simmons then retired from the military in 1979, having received several awards for service. The Bronze Star Medal, the Republic Vietnam Gallantry Cross, and the Air Force Ribbon for excellent marksmanship.
Okay, I'm seeing Vietnam. I'm thinking poor guy lost his marbles.
Yeah, he probably came back
unfortunately
a much different person, which happened to a lot of the vets from over there.
It sure did.
I mean,
it's a shame.
It is. They saw and participated in some really, really horrible
brutal
yes,
stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he may have already been sort of, not all there to begin with, and that definitely probably was like more of a tipping point.
Yeah, even the most devout Christian man gets shipped into a war zone and he comes back,
especially in Vietnam,
and a lot of them come back barbarians.
Yeah,
they're beasts because you're in war mode and then you come back to civilian life. It's just hard just turn it off.
Oh yeah.
Now I can't speak from experience. I mean, we were both in the service, but unfortunately, I was never sent overseas, so I wouldn't know. I have talked to my grandfather who was in World War II and through his battles, and he's 95 years old, and it still
haunts him,
bugs him.
Yeah.
And he is the sweetest guy you'd ever want to meet, but it still hurts deeply. And I think somebody who can't control themselves or doesn't have that kind of self-control after they come back can lose it. And do what you're about to
what we're about to talk about that he did.
Yes.
Yeah. And we're actually just about to get into that. So in 1981, 2 years after he retired, the Department of Human Services in New Mexico launched an investigation into claims that Simmons had been sexually abusing his 17-year-old daughter and had also fathered a child with her. Simmons moved his family to a large tract of land in Dover, Arkansas, in order to evade the investigation. The property was desolate and isolated with no phone and no plumbing. Over the next 6 years, the children were under the merciless rule of their father, who was harsh and exacting. Now, this is where the hard stuff begins. So, 6 years after that, shortly before the Christmas of 1987, the slowly deteriorating mind of Simmons finally cracked, and he made the decision to kill his entire family. The morning of December 22nd, Simmons pulled out his .22 caliber pistol and shot his wife Becky and his oldest son Gene at their home in Dover, Arkansas. He then strangled his 3-year-old granddaughter to death and buried all their bodies in a large hole out back. A hole, mind you, that he had his children dig up shortly before that fateful date under the ruse of building an outhouse. So he had his kids
dig their own graves.
He then sat and waited for the rest of his family to arrive home. When they arrived home, he told them he had gifts for everyone, but wanted to give it to them one person at a time. Simmons then methodically strangled each of his remaining children, Loretta, Eddie, Marianne, and Becky, one at a time, while also holding them underwater in a rain barrel. I mean, that's definitely premeditated, like no doubt.
Yeah,
there's no crime of passion there at all.
I'm biting my tongue till you finish the story.
On the day after Christmas, the remaining members of his family arrived. The first to die was his son Billy and his wife Renata, both shot dead. He then strangled and drowned Billy's son Trey, and moved to his daughter Sheila and her husband Dennis McNulty, who he shot as well. Simmons then strangled his daughter/granddaughter Sylvia Gale, who was the child of his abuse with daughter Sheila, and finally moved on to grandson Michael. He then placed all their bodies in a row in the lounge of the house and covered all with coats save Sylvia and the 2 grandsons. For some reason, he wrapped Sylvia in tablecloths and took the 2 grandsons, wrapped them in plastic sheeting, and then left the bodies of the grandsons in abandoned cars at the end of the lane to their property.
This weird.
I know. I mean, it's strange.
It's to say psychotic is too small a word.
I mean, the killings themselves are brutal enough, but to have a state of mind to wrap Sheila differently and to take the grandsons' bodies and put them in a car.
Yeah, this one's actually really hard for me to listen to, and it was hard for me to read because I am a very, very loving family man. I love my kids. I love my grandkids.
Yeah.
Anybody who could do this, I'm pretty sure we know where he ended up. But
for sure.
Still.
Yeah, so after he did all of that, the same day he finished that, he went down to a local bar to have a drink. Later he returned and spent the rest of the night and the following day drinking beer and watching TVs while the bodies still lay in the house.
That's just
That right there is like Jeffrey Dahmer level, because Dahmer used to have bodies not just in the fridge, but he used to have them in his bathtub, and he used to shower in the bathtub with the body still in there.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Man,
yeah,
there are some seriously jacked up people in this world.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Hey, you know what? That's the point of this show.
I mean,
Find some weird shit.
This is just as scary as the other stuff we covered, for sure.
Bad, mean, horrible.
Even more so, because you have more of a chance of this happening to you than being abducted by aliens, for sure.
That is for sure.
On the morning of December, I was going to say October, I don't know why. I don't know why. On the morning of December 28th, Simmons made the drive from Dover to Russellville to kill Kathy, someone Simmons had worked with at a motor freight company where he had harassed and stalked her till he quit in 1986, only after she complained to management about his advances.
Mm-hmm.
He then went on to shoot J.D. Chafin and wound another woman at an oil company, thereby ending his shooting spree. After he finished, Simmons sat down in the office of the oil company and waited for police to arrive while chatting with another terrified secretary. At which point, when police arrived, he surrendered without any resistance. Simmons was later charged with 16 counts of murder, found guilty, and sentenced to death. When the chance to appeal his sentence came around, Simmons refused, stating, quote, "To those who oppose the death penalty in my particular case, anything short of death would be cruel and unusual punishment." End quote. On May 31st, 1990, then Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton signed Simmons' execution warrants, and on June 25th, 1990, he died by the method he had chosen, lethal injection.
See, now, sorry, at least that's something that Clinton did right. But I'm sorry, I have a real problem with this. I'm a big believer in the death penalty.
Okay.
And I believe people should die in the way that they killed their victims.
Okay.
I think perhaps he should have been stabbed, dunked, and drowned in a barrel, revived, and then shot.
And then, so all of the ways that he didn't stab anybody.
Because I thought he stabbed somebody.
Did he? Oh, maybe
I
heard. So I remember reading shot and
strangled.
Then strangled. That's right.
Strangled and shot. Okay.
Strangled, shot, because he strangled them while drowning them.
Sorry to mix up the facts.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, see, I'm always like that. Like if a hatchet murderer, hacks up his victims, they don't kill them right off the bat. I'm sure they chop them up and make them suffer.
Right.
I'm sorry, make them suffer. Just putting them out quiet like that, that's letting them off the hook. I'm sorry if everybody thinks that's brutal, tough shit. That's just the way I am, because you're gonna choke. If I recall correctly, the youngest victim was only 20 months old, not even 2 years old. Strangled him to death and drowned him in a rain barrel or something. That's a total animal. He's not even a human anymore and deserves to be.
I mean, his state of mind was such that he committed all these killings, hung out in the house for a night and a day with the bodies. Calmly went into town the next day to kill at least 2 more people.
Obviously, he was cracked.
Right.
He was broken.
Yeah.
Seriously broken.
Yeah. But then he sat down and calmly waited until police arrived.
And that's what's scary.
Yeah.
So I guess the only advice I can give is, if you know any veterans out there, if anything can be taken away from this, if you know any veterans out there that are having a tough time and they're not getting help, do what you can. Try to get them some kind of help.
Yeah, get them some help.
I mean, I know a lot of times they need to accept that help, but at least give it a shot. Don't just ignore people like that, because somebody can go overboard. Somebody can lose it.
Yeah.
Life stress will get to them.
Yeah.
Especially somebody's been on multiple tours. They come back. Bless their hearts. God, they've been through hell.
And then
you try to downshift and live a normal life. It's got to be incredibly difficult.
Very much so.
As an Army vet, I can't say even, the stuff that I did was nothing compared to what a lot of these guys went through. I didn't go overseas. I did not fight.
Right.
I did not get in a war zone, so.
And I'm going to extend that to say, if you yourself feel like you are going to hurt somebody, go get help.
Yeah.
There is always somebody out there. There are places out there where you can get help. If you have even the faintest idea that you want to hurt somebody, go and get help. It's not too late.
Yep.
You know, and you're not alone. There are tons of people that feel like that, both vets and non-vets. But go and get help.
Yeah.
Go talk to somebody. Go find somebody to talk to and work it out. May take a little while, but it will be okay. And it's not bad, and it's not weird to feel that way. You just need to find someone to talk it out with.
Exactly. Get it off your shoulders before it becomes too big.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I gotta say this, I mean, as much as I love the paranormal, and it does kind of freak me out, I mean, and we've said it several times, you know, as investigators, you know,
yep.
We're not afraid of spirits and demons, we're afraid of people.
Yeah.
And this is exactly why we're afraid of people.
Amen to that.
Because, as I said, you have more of a chance of something like this happening, especially in this day and age where mass shooters are all over the damn place.
Yeah.
You have more of a chance of running something like that than you do a demon, a Bigfoot, or an alien abduction. And so this, to me, is probably, I mean, this is horrifying.
Yes, it is.
It's super horrifying.
Now, see, like I said, because you got somebody pushed there, but then you've got people mass shooting just because they can't handle their own feelings.
Right, yeah.
You know, they get bullied, they lose it, they go grab a gun, and they go back to school and shoot the place up.
Yeah.
You know, that's a sad and very, very horrible thing. So,
yeah.
You know, like I said, if you see the signs on anybody, don't ignore them.
Even yourself. If you see the signs on yourself, go talk to somebody, get help.
Yep.
There's help out there for you anywhere. You just need to, nowadays, grab your phone, grab a laptop, just Google where you get help, and you'll find somebody.
Please. As a matter of fact, when this post goes up, maybe I'll post some information on the veterans assistance and
good idea.
Suicide hotlines or anything.
That's definitely a good idea.
Not that it'd have been better off if this guy had blown his own head off. No, but he had to go and take 16 of his family with him.
Well, and people say that, and sometimes I'm good with in this cases like this. I'm good with police brutality. I think that they should beat the living crap out of him, but I also don't feel like they should take their own lives, because I personally feel like that denies the family's justice.
That is true.
So
that is very, very true. But the problem is, it was his family.
Not the other two.
In this particular case.
That's
true.
Not the last two.
That is true. The last two.
The last two he killed and the person he wounded were complete. I mean, they were all innocent people, but they were non-familiar innocent people.
Yeah.
And
normal human reaction to that is for those family members or those other individuals to want this guy to basically burn alive.
Right.
You know, that's what they want. They want him to suffer.
Killing yourself is a coward's way
nature.
Out. Yeah.
It's human nature. I know they say to forgive is divine and all that, and you may try if you're that type of person. And the fact that somebody takes your family like that,
right,
and you don't have any recourse. All you can do is go to court and sit there and watch them sentence this guy when you want to reach over there and tear his freaking head off, you know.
Well, I think it's mostly like the fathers. I think the rest of the family is just happy that they're actually getting justice for their loved ones that they lost. But the fathers definitely want to tear the guy's head off for sure.
I would.
Yeah, I know I would too.
If somebody ever hurt my family, they better leave the planet.
Leave the planet. Go to the moon.
I will find your ass.
All right, James, thanks for joining me on another scary episode.
Amen, brother. This is great. I mean, unfortunately, this subject matter this week was a little harsh. But that's what name of the game.
Name of the game, and I mean, it's a scary world, and we're here to report on some of the scary stuff that happens in your particular state. So,
yep.
Thanks again for you guys for listening and joining us on another scary episode, and we will see you on the next one. Again, I am Chris.
And I'm James.
And we'll see you later, guys. Take care.
Peace.
Oh, and don't forget to stay tuned for the personal encounter stories coming up right now.
Okay, so I went on vacation, staying in a rental cabin on a stretch of highway down the road from the Rowdy Beaver Bar and Grill in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. I arrived approximately 5 p.m. Did a late check-in. As soon as I walked into the hotel, I immediately felt there was something there. The air was real heavy in the cabin. Had a real creepy vibe to it. Whatever. I had worked all day, didn't sleep much the night before. So I get to the hotel, get checked in. I laid down on the bed while the person I was vacationing with, my significant other at the time, was taking a shower. And she's in the bathroom, and, we'd already got everything put up and put away, and I'm laying in the bed, and the TV there's the foot of the bed, then there's a 4-foot walkway, the couch, and then another couple feet in the TV. And I'm laying in the bed watching the TV. And to the right, if you walk past the couch, you take a left into the kitchen and a right into the bathroom. Where the kitchen is, I could see someone standing. So I'm like, well, that's odd. We're the only ones in this room. So I get up, walk in there. No one's there but the kitchen cabinets, because it was a full kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, living room. The kitchen cabinets were open. I was like, okay, that's weird, whatever. We go out, we come back, and we decide, all right, we're going to go to sleep. We go home, or we get back to the hotel. We lay down. I fall asleep pretty quick. We slept maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours. We were both wide awake. Felt like we had slept all night. Okay, that's weird, whatever. We get up, watch a little TV, lay there, don't fall back asleep. Kept hearing weird noises inside the cabin. Was a police officer at the time. I grabbed my off-duty weapon. I cleared the entire cabin, made sure there was no one else in there. We get up, we go about our day. We did 5 or 6 touristy activities that should have took us 6-7 hours worth of doing. We got back to the hotel and only 3 hours had passed. It seemed like time was just not moving when we were in Eureka Springs. We get back and we're like, okay, well, it's still early. We'll just take a nap and hit it back again. We slept for 45 minutes. We both woke up freaking out, thinking we had slept all night. So we're like, okay, it's still early. At this point, it was only maybe 3. So we head up to the grounds where they have the Passion Play. We were there, went and watched the pottery lesson, walked the entire thing, took pictures at the cross. We're there for what felt like 5 or 6 hours. I mean, we were there longer than we should have. Had drove outside of Eureka Springs into another small town, went to Walmart, picked up a couple things, and came back. We were only out 2 hours. So we were confused. We're thinking, okay, maybe it's one of those weird anomalous, where the days seem extra long, whatever. We get back to the hotel. I open the front door, and I see someone standing in our kitchen again. So I'm like, that's not right. I make a beeline to the kitchen. House is empty. Okay, that's strange. We're laying there. We weren't even laying. We're sitting on the couch. We eating some food, watching TV. We hear the kitchen door open. The door leading from the kitchen to the back patio. So I'm like, that's been locked. Hasn't been unlocked since we've been here. Walk out there. Door's still shut. No one there. No one on the patio. Again, cabin's still empty. Okay. Strange. We go to bed. Once again, slept just a couple hours. Felt like we'd slept all night. We get up. We go to the Crescent Hotel, which is famously haunted. The Crescent felt less heavy and less like there was something going on there than that weird little cabin on the highway we were staying in. We were at the Crescent for a long time, went around, did touristy stuff, went to the chapel, immediately started smelling smoke upon walking out of the chapel. I thought it was just because I walked into a church, burst into flames, but there was just a strange phantom smoke. Went around, went all over downtown Eureka Springs, went to a bar, one of the downtown touristy bars, had a beer, went and got some ice cream, the typical touristy stuff. Get back and lay down. It was that evening, and the day just seemed super long, like we could do everything we wanted to and no time was passing. We get back to the hotel. I'm laying there and I could hear people talking. And at first I think it's someone outside. When I go outside to have a smoke, there is no one near the cabin. I walked all the way around as much as I could, because it's kind of like on a hillside where the back porch is down, has the beams going down into a drop-off. Went off the back porch. No one's out there. Could hear people talking in the cabin. Thought it was strange, but just chalked it up to nothingness. I went to sleep that night. I woke up in the middle of the night. She was still asleep. I saw someone, I could see a shadow walking around our kitchen. I get up, I go in there. There's nobody there, but I could see the shadow walking around until I got about to the kitchen. So I was never happier to check out of a hotel, and I've traveled a lot. I've stayed in famously haunted places before, like the Glen Tavern Inn in Santa Paula, California. I've been to the Crescent in Eureka Springs multiple times. I've lived in houses that were haunted, but that is by far one of the creepiest places I've ever stayed.